Good evening and welcome to the January 30th City Council meeting. With that, Mike Urban, would you please call roll?
Mayor Benjamin.
Present.
Councilmember DeLira.
Present.
Councilmember Jaron.
Here.
Councilmember Gaither.
Present.
Councilmember Guido.
Here.
Councilmember Parks.
Here.
Councilmember Weller.
Present.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
Welcome, everyone. For announcement tonight, we have a few different things going on within the city. First of all, the City of Pullman is proud to partner with Vitalent Northwest for a blood drive. It's tomorrow. From 10:30 to 3, we still have some spots open, and so you can go to vitalent.org if you'd like to sign up for the blood drive. As a city, we have applications are open for the following boards, commissions, and committees. The Arts Commission, Cemetery Committee, Environmental Resilience Commission, and also Parks and Rec. If you know anyone who's interested in those, please have them go to the website to apply. For public safety, the ABLE, so active bystander for law enforcement. Pullman Police Department is participating in the ABLE project. ABLE training provides practical active bystander strategies and tactics to promote positive engagement and increase reliability and promote health and wellness among our officers. In 2023, Officer Patterday and Emerson completed training required to earn their ABLE instructor certificates and are beginning the process to train their fellow officers and command staff. From Parks and Rec, the Senior Center, the Pullman Senior Center Moonlight Mixer is on Friday, February 14th at 4:30 p.m. Pullman's active adults are invited to enjoy a special catered meal with music and dancing. To learn more, register at the Senior Center website. For spring youth sports, registration opens February 5th for youth spring sports. This includes soccer for kids from 3 years up to 8th grade, co-ed volleyball, girls softball, and mini hoops basketball. And the last one, Neal Public Library, there's a clothing clinic. Neal Public Library is hosting a clothing clinic February 9th, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Local seamstress Andrea Meyer will show you cheap and effective mending techniques. No fancy equipment or nimble fingers are needed. So for those that, there's plenty to do within our community. With that, next order of item is presentations. And first we have Pullman School District related to the 2024 levy, and Diane Hodges, the Finance Director.
Thank you. So thanks for allowing us to present tonight on the February 24th levy. So hold on just a second. Let me get this started. Oh, okay. Thank you. So this should be pretty quick. I know that some of you have already sat through this sometimes more than once. First of all, why are quality schools important? It's important for our students. It provides a higher likelihood of employment and a higher wages for when employed. It's important for our community. It provides for a larger tax base, and it leads to lower rates of poverty and unemployment. It impacts our business recruitment. We do have new people who come to the community who take tours of our schools, and they also take tours of Moscow schools. So it's important that we're able to show that we have good quality schools. And investing in our schools. First of all, we want to say that we're very grateful for our community and the support they provided to our schools. If you go to any of our schools, you can see that we do have quality schools. And the support that Pullman has provided to Pullman School District is just amazing, and we're very, very grateful for the support. So Pullman Public Schools funding sources, we have 3 sources. We have our federal, which is specific to special programs like our title programs and our special education programs. We have our local money, which is our levies and just local dollars like donations, and then our state, which is our state apportionment. And a lot of people ask, what is a levy? Levy is for learning. It's a local property tax passed by voters that generates revenue for the operation of our school. And it basically bridges the gap in funding between what the state provides and then the levy bridges that gap. For example, we're funded for 10.3, 10.4 custodians, and we have 22. We're funded for 1.5 technicians, technology technicians, and we have 6. So those are the kind of gaps that it provides. And these are some additional items that the levy pays for. One of the ones I really want to focus on is insurance and utilities. Currently, last year, we paid $475,000 for property insurance. It went up to $624,000 this year. For insurance and utilities, we are funded for $1 million, just right around $1 million, and we're coming in at a little over $2 million. So when we went out last time for the approved rates, we went to the voters and they approved $2.35 for our tax rates, $2.25 for the EP&O levy, and 10 cents for the technology levy. This year we're proposing $2.33, so it'd be $2.22 for the EP&O levy and 11 cents for the technology levy. And again, I want to reiterate, this is a replacement levy, it's not a new levy. And this is a history of our enrichment levy. As you can see, since 2014, we have not asked for an increase in our levy. It's continually been $5.3 million. And I think we've done a really good job being a steward of those funds and not having to ask for more. But because everyone knows there's an increase in cost for utilities, insurance, et cetera, we are having to increase it. We just can't sustain the $5.3 million. So we are asking for an additional $1 million. But as in the previous slide indicated, it's 2 cents less, even though we're getting $1 million more. And we are asking for an additional $100,000 in our technology levy that I don't know when the last time we increased that was. As far as I know, it's always been $200,000. And this is a history of our approved rates versus our actual rates. As you can see, the blue line are the approved rates, the voters have approved, but it's actually coming in under based upon the assessed valuation. So in 2023, the voters approved $2.16. It's actually coming in at $2. And this is just a regional enrichment levy rates for our outlying communities. So as you can see, Palouse is at $2.50, La Crosse is at $95. We kind of fall in the middle at $2 per $1,000 assessed value. And $2.50 is the absolute max you can collect. So like some of those that are already at $2.50, they can't go higher than that. And this is, these are some of the items that our technology levy pays for. One of the ones we're focusing on this year, we added security because obviously you know there's a lot of issues with cybersecurity. And that's one of our audit focuses too, is cybersecurity. So we're trying to enhance our cybersecurity. But a lot of it goes for Chromebooks, technology in the classroom, enhanced infrastructure, and software. We also did a bond refunding in April of 2023. And if you've never gone through a bond refunding before, it's mentally taxing. There's a lot to it. And, but we thought, okay, initially we thought we'd save about $1.8 million during this bond refunding, and we actually saved $3.5 million. So this was a big win for the school district. So it'll save our taxpayers $3.5 million over the next 10 years. And these are just our tax rate and trends and projections. As you can see, the green line is the technology levy, and it's kind of just held stable over the last 10 years. And then the blue line is our EP&O levy, the green is our school bonds, and then the top yellow line is the total throughout the years for all three of those. Okay, this is a lot of information, but this is actually my favorite slide. So, as you can see here, let's see if I can get this to work. Right here, as you can see, this is the voter-approved levy amount right here. And again, we're asking for $6.3 million. This is the tech levy, $200,000, and then we're asking for $300,000 in 25 through 2028. These are the assessed valuations. So when we originally took this to the voters, we did not have the 2024 assessed valuation. So we have to do a resolution, and when we kind of do a conservative assessed valuation of a 2% increase. And so when we did our resolution, you'll see right here, We did it for 222, 218, 214, 210. Well, in late December, we actually got the 2024 assessed valuation, and it increased 12.13%. So as your assessed valuation goes up, the tax rates go down. So based upon that 12.13% assessed valuation, again, the 222, 218, 214, 210, that's what the resolution shows, that's what's going to be on the ballot. But it's actually going to come in at 208, 204, $2, and $1.96. Now, if these, again, like I said, we do a conservative assessed valuation over the 4 years. If these 2% assessed valuation come in higher, these rates actually will go down each year. So right now, the last 4 years was 491, 486, 481, 433. And then based upon our assumptions with the 12% and then the 2% assessed valuations, we're actually looking at 452, 448, 444, and 440 for the next 4 years. It's a lot of information, but it's important information. And again, there's a group of people who qualify for a tax exemption, so we like to provide this information to let them know that based upon certain criteria, you're able to apply for a tax exemption. So we do have this link on our website. And again, the election day is February 13th, so we just want people to remember to vote. And again, if you don't know if you're registered to vote, you can check your status or actually register to vote. Again, the link is on our website. And if you have any questions, you can contact, you can look at our webpage or email us at the email regarding levyfax@psd267.org. Are there any questions?
With that, any questions for Diane?
Thank you.
If not, thank you very much. And I know we've received our ballots, so everybody, the ballots, you should have received your ballots by now.
Yes, yes, you should have. I think they came out Saturday. But thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, our next presentation is on the council goal and priorities and update. With that, Mike, and I know and I'm going to take a pause right now. If I can get a judge for how many people are interested in public comment tonight, just I'm trying to judge the meeting for length of time. If I judge for how many for that. Okay, so with that, Mike, why don't we do abbreviated or just do an update?
Well, if it pleases the council, I can do an abbreviated presentation tonight or a full presentation at our next meeting. You already have my spreadsheet, so you're already partially informed. How would you like me to proceed?
Because a full presentation is probably going to be 40, 45 minutes, and so we're trying to be sensitive to people in the room also. So if we delay the presentation, then that would be at the February 13th meeting. Okay.
So if we can table this, I'll bring it back on the 13th. I'll just put it back up the same way.
Okay. Yes, Carla?
Yeah, do we have any, decisions we have to make, or urgent decisions we have to make based off of the presentation? Oh, okay.
No, I do quarterly updates on the city council goals, and I've been asked at the end of the year to do that quarterly update in person. So this is be my in-person off of the usual spreadsheet that you'd be normally getting, and that was that email that came through this weekend.
Okay, so with that, we'll go back to the February 13th meeting. And I'm sure the public appreciates that. So next up is a public comment for any agenda items. Correct? Okay. And this is for any agenda items the City Council will be taking final action on. It includes the consent agenda, except for if there's any that have had previously with public hearings. Is there anyone that wants to make a public comment on any of the agenda items that we're taking final action on tonight? There's public comment time later on for general comments. Okay, so with that, then we'll move to the consent agenda. And the first with the consent agenda, first like to do a motion to be able to read the consent agenda by title only.
So moved.
In a second. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. With that, Thad, you'd be able to read our consent agenda, please.
Thank you. Excuse me. The first item is a motion to dispense with the reading of the January 9, 2024 meeting minutes and approve them as submitted. Item 2, a motion to dispense with the reading of the January 16, 2024 special meeting minutes and approve them as submitted. 3 is a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks number 201-0332 through 201-0401, totaling $744,138.25. Item 4, a motion to approve the transfer of sales tax revenue to CIP Reserve Fund for 2023 Q4 in amount of $403,443. Item 5, a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks number 201-0236 through 201-0268, totaling $1,605,055.70. Item 6, a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks numbered 111673 through 111691, electronic transfers 141, 142, 1100, 1105, and 1107 through 1113. Payroll direct deposits numbered 90540 through 90858, totaling $1,489,132.27. Item 7, a motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks number 2010269 through 2010305, totaling $5,357,491.91. A motion to approve disbursements for accounts payable checks number 2010306 through 2010331, totaling $323,805.48. And finally, resolution R-05-24, a resolution accepting the bid of RD Electric LLC for placement of an external emergency generator at Pullman Fire Station Number 1 and authorizing execution and delivery of the contract for said project.
Thank you very much. So with that, we have agenda items 1 through 9. Are there any agenda items that a council member would like taken out from the consent in order to discuss separately?
Just number 4 for a quick comment.
Number 4? Okay. So with that, we have agenda items. So our first vote would be for agenda items 1 through 3 and then 5 through 9. Can I have a motion for moving those forward?
So moved.
Moved and
Second.
second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Sorry, thank you, Ann. And with that, so that passes, and then to agenda item 4, Councilmember Wright.
As we look at the health of the capital fund, I just want to recognize one more time Barney Waldrop, who was a city council person at the time, who recommended that we set up a special fund to supplement the capital funds, and he was quite a visionary when he did that. And so I continue to think of him every time we do this and salute him for his wisdom and his forward thinking in our being able to do that. So Barney, if you're around, thank you.
He is, and he watches it. I actually got a card from him this last week, so.
Perfect.
Any other discussions on that item? If not, would you like to entertain a motion?
Move to approve the transfer of sales tax revenue to CIP Reserve Fund for 2023 quarter 4 in the amount of $403,443.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. On to the regular agenda. The first one is ordinance number 2404, and with that, Mike Urban, our city administrator.
All right, thank you, Mayor, and good evening, council. Before you tonight is ordinance number 2404, an ordinance that repeals Chapter 1.4 of our city code. So what happened here is in 2022, I brought forward Ordinance 2218, which created a new city code 1.58. That's the salary commission for elected officials. So by doing that, we go through elected officials' salaries by an independent third-party commission. So when I was going to start putting that commission together for this year, because we do that in even number of years going in ahead of the budget, I noticed that we didn't do a repealer for Chapter 1.4, which had set the salaries for mayor and council members by resolution in the past before this. So 1.58 renders 1.40 moot, but the proper thing we should do is get that off of the records for clarity and currency. So with that, before you tonight is ordinance number 2404 to correct our oversight and assure this concurrence. Staff recommends you adopt this ordinance as presented. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for our city administrator? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve ordinance number 24-04.
Second. And Thad, would you read that in entirety, please?
Yes. Ordinance number 24-04, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Pullman, Whitman County, Washington, relating to Title I, Administration, repealing Chapter 1.40, Salaries of City Officers, and other matters properly related thereto.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you,
Okay,
council.
that one passes. Next, Mark Urban, you're still up for our next resolution.
Absolutely. So Resolution R06-24 is a resolution repealing and replacing R-1879. So the way this came about is we were putting together the agenda item for tonight's meeting for your discussion on boards and committees. And we've noticed in the past that you like to do the mayor pro tem and the alternate mayor pro tem at the same time. So as we were going through these pieces, something was banging around in the back of my head, and I went and did some additional research. And sure enough, back in 1979, the City Council passed Resolution R-18-79, which sets the appointment of the mayor pro tem at the first meeting in February, unless that position becomes open. So in doing some more research too, we also couldn't find anywhere discussed an alternate mayor pro tem position. So I wanted to take this opportunity to bring an alternative here to, number one, create the formal acknowledgement of the alternate mayor pro tem position, and then also increase timeliness and efficiency in appointing these positions to kind of coincide with the City Council's annual setting of the boards. So with that, I've brought the resolution, and if you pass this, then we can do agenda item number 4 as it's presented tonight. And if not, I would ask you to pull agenda item number 4 off the list, because we will need to wait until the 13th of February for that item.
And with that, any
answer any questions?
Councilmember Weller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mike, I just want to say thank you for looking through this and taking time to clean up. It must take quite a bit of time, so thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. I have some story of the next item in the same vein.
Okay.
Any other discussion? If not, entertain a motion.
Move to approve resolution number R-06-24.
And with that, Thad, if you'd read the resolution.
Yes, thank you. Resolution number R-06-24, a resolution repealing resolution number R-18-79, a resolution providing for the annual election of a mayor pro tem, and adopting resolution number R-06-24 for the purpose of providing timely election of the mayor pro tem and recognizing the position of alternate mayor pro tem.
And with that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. And then one more resolution. And Mike, you're stuck.
All right, thank you. So resolution R-0 07-24, a resolution amending Resolution R12-13 relating to the rules of procedure. This is the item that you guys have been waiting for since January 9th, and some of you maybe even longer. So this is to set the agenda order for a regular council meeting. So what we did is we went back and found Resolution 1213 that spelled out all of our different codes and procedures, and since the only thing I was asked to look at was changing the regular agenda item order, I kind of left all the rest of the previous resolution as is. The reason that we felt that amendment of this would work well is because we've already done this in the past. We passed Resolution R-22-21 back in 2021 when we moved into this facility. Because if you look at that original one, it says the city council meetings will be held at 325 Southeast Paradise. So we amended that to be able to do this. So what we're proposing for your consideration tonight is a replace or an amendment to it. It's this new resolution, and it's just repealing Section 3 of the previous resolution, and it's pretty much in its entirety. If you look into the actual resolution, you can see where there's the order of business and the previous orders A through I, and those have been blocked out and they have been replaced through R. So with some indulgence, I'll kind of go over what these header items are. And the reason we're proposing the header items is to give us some ability to edit language for additional clarification as we put these things out there and we find that maybe the community with this new piece could use some additional clarification and not have to come to council every time we want to change a comma or something like that. So your new proposed agenda would be starting with the call to order, exactly like we do right now, and then the roll call, again the same, followed by mayor's announcements to the community. Then the next item would now be community comments, and we work on language for the public to bring items forward to the city council for awareness and consideration. And then following community comments would be city council comments, very similar to the same thing. This is something that I did in my previous life when I was on city council. Then that's followed by the mayor comments. Item G would now be committee, commission, and board reports, and this could be for internal boards, if so requested, or external boards that you guys, that the council and the mayor go to, like the airport board or PBAC, and that'd be a good chance to update the rest of council and the community on what's going on there. Item H would be city council and mayor future regular agenda item requests, a chance to bring to staff and to the rest of the elected body items you would like to discuss on future agendas, so staff can start preparing that. Very similar to what we're doing already, community comments on final action items on the agenda of that evening. We do want to keep that in there. That is part of the new state law. And then it goes pretty similar again. This next item, J, would be confirmation of appointments, followed by presentations, the consent agenda, public hearings, the regular agenda, and I'll come back to some breakdown on that and why in a second because you'll see some sub-items there. Then discussions, again, all very similar to what we're doing right now. Then new business, this is where the staff, the mayor, or council can bring a new item forward that is imminent and presented itself after the publication of the previous agenda. And then it would be executive session under normal circumstances. I wrote down in here, unless moving this item up to an earlier position is the best interest of the proceedings that would follow. This has happened to me in a couple previous places where we would be voting on something earlier in the regular agenda, and there may be some legal information we'd want to go over beforehand. So in situations like that, having an executive session earlier in the agenda makes more sense. In a similar vein, going back to the regular agenda, we would break down those presentations by starting with ordinances and then resolutions, motions, and then any other items. But we also would like the ability to reorder that if the situation arises Oftentimes, when RJ brings an item for land use, it requires an ordinance to approve it, and then maybe a resolution right afterwards to change our comprehensive plan map. So in situations like that, some flexibility to keep it in that order would be most advantageous. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions and put it to the council for discussion on adoption.
I'm excited about what we're doing. So with that, Councilmember Weller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mike, this is really awesome. I do have a question regarding, now, you had mentioned that we have to keep in the comments on final action agenda items. Is there any way to join D and I, or does it need to be, because it seems like community comments and then it's council, then mayor, committee, and it seems like both community comments should be together. Just a thought.
We thought about that a little bit, and because of the intent of the council, the previous discussions about giving the community a chance to speak early on about those items, and then since I is part of the new state code, I had some concerns about looping those together because it may seem like we're not following the state code if it's not properly identified, but if the council wants to combine them, I think they have the ability. I would defer to that if he's got any more deal from a legal standpoint. This makes it look completely above board.
Okay.
I agree. I think keeping them separate makes sure that we can delineate between the two and make sure we satisfy our requirements under the Open Public Meetings Act. It is sort of duplicative, but my understanding too was the council wanted to make sure that there was a section where it's not limited to those items that are up for final action during that particular meeting.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is, looking at the flow, we have community comments, and then we have all our comments up here. And then we have community comments again. It's almost like, personally, I feel like we should still move forward with it because we want to be able to not have everybody sit through an entire meeting. But at the same time, I think for the flow of meetings, it's something to think about because it's kind of chunky. Yeah. It's comments. So, I mean, if anything, yeah, I'll say definitely move forward with this, but maybe sometime in the future look at, can we put community comments on final action below community comments? So
And-
have it at E.
And let me speak to this. I think the reason why the separation is if it's something that's final action, you'd have the community comments, then the opportunity for staff to be able to provide input, and then also for council to provide comments on that final action item. And if we put community comments and then the council member comments, you don't have the opportunity for those staff comments to help guide you in your comments if you're trying to comment on that action. And then you end up commenting on an action, and then later in the meeting, commenting again on the action. And so the separation, I think, is important.
Okay, lots of comments.
And then the other piece too, Nathan, as you can see where it goes from G to H, where committee, commission, board,
Yeah.
and then it goes, H to I.
Yeah.
I apologize, city for future agenda requests, and then it comes into the final action on agendas. That's the clear delineation between now we're going on to agenda-related items and not bouncing back and forth.
All right, just bringing up something, and then with new business with staff, or new business down below at P, but then for us having city council comments up at E, so we can bring up new business in E, is that what?
No, that's incorrect. Let me go back here, and, because I wrote this very carefully. New business is for staff, mayor, and city council to bring a new item forward that is imminent and presented itself after the publishing of the agenda.
Okay, so, but we can't say anything about that in our time during E.
Your E is comments.
Just
If you
regular.
if you would like to bring an item, it would come in the new business time.
Perfectly unclear. So that's going to be, I'm just saying it's going to be a question coming up.
Sure.
I know for many council members, if I'm asking it now, it's going to end up having that effect. But I hear what you're saying. I think the agenda overall is really, really well done. I really do appreciate it. It is important that we move forward on it, period. I do think in the spirit of recognizing council members who have brought up important things, Brandon Chapman was very important, past council member Chapman, on bringing this forward, and I know many of us had discussed this for a long time, but he was really doggedly about this. So I want to recognize that and yourself for bringing it, forward and continuing it. So thank you.
If Councilmember Parks will indulge me for a sec, because I know you want to ask a question, I just kind of want to reiterate the piece put in here, maybe didn't cover well enough, that we were asking council to adopt subject headers. The expectation is to provide thorough descriptions in the agenda item under the headers as assembled in board docs to create a more complete understanding of what each header item entails. By adopting the header items only, it allows the flexibility in the future to edit such clarifying languages when further explanation may be required or changes become necessary due to state laws being enacted, while not requiring staff to return to city council to change the resolution because we adopted language earlier. So that is the hope in the end.
Okay. Councilmember Parks.
Thank you, Mayor. My question does pertain to the comments E and F. Are those directly for response to community comments above, or just any comments that we would like to make except bringing up new business?
I can answer that question with yes. You can do both.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Councilmember Guido.
Thank you, Mayor. Just congratulations on putting this together, and it's, in my mind, it's a real city council agenda. That includes time upfront for folks to be engaged and provide their comments, and then us as representatives provide our comments. It just flows, their chance to be heard by all parties, and it just makes a lot more sense to me. But I do have a question on the regular agenda. You have ordinances first, resolutions, then motions. So am I understand that we hear all the ordinances, all the resolutions, and then we vote on them in item C?
No.
No?
That when we put to the regular agenda, we'll try to put all the ordinances first. So if there's 6 ordinances, 2 resolutions, you'll get all the ordinances first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And then we vote on them?
Then, nope, you vote item by
Each
item.
one individually.
Each individually?
And you get the resolutions next, and then the motions, because there's some process to it. You vote on each item individually on all agendas.
I guess I don't understand what the motions is.
A motion would be a motion to approve staff to research this and bring back whatever. So everything you do either needs to have a ordinance to it, changes the code, a resolution to it, you've seen a couple of that, or a motion, like a motion to approve a contract. The contract would be the legal piece
Okay.
in place of the ordinance or the motion.
Okay, I appreciate the example.
Any other? If not, all those in,
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
I apologize. One other item that I'm thinking of in support of separating these out is creating the record that's recorded on the video and everything else. So if something is on the regular agenda for later in the meeting and comments are made by council members up above, it's going to be hard to go back and review that record. So if you, sorry, I'm not saying this very well, but if you keep, okay, the discussion on this ordinance is going to fall under the ordinance, other than, the community comments, but all council member comments will be encapsulated into that discussion of that particular item that's on the agenda, rather than commenting on it up here and then commenting on it again. It'll just keep it all together and just make it a simpler package.
And with that, if you would read our resolution.
Yes, resolution number R-07-24, a resolution amending Resolution R-12-13 relating to rules of procedure of the Pullman City Council and updating Section 3.3 City Council Order of Business in a entirety and adopting the new order of business for the regular meeting agenda.
Thank you. All those, do I have a,
Who
do
was,
I have a motion?
I don't know
Move
that
to
the,
adopt.
Move to adopt.
Yeah.
thank you.
There we go.
Second.
Second.
And with that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Thank you, council.
Thank you. That passes. Okay, the next item of agenda is the nomination and election of mayor pro tem and alternate mayor pro tem. For the new council members, this is within the sequence. If I'm not able to lead a meeting, then the mayor pro tem would step in, or if the mayor pro tem's not available, then the alternate would step in for that case. And historically, so this is something that the council selects, from among the council. Historically, the mayor pro tem is someone who has been at least the alternate and worked your way up type of a thing, and it tends to be a rotation basis in that. So with that, I open to the council for your discussion around this.
So, I know back in I believe it was 2017, because that's what we had received earlier, Pat Wright was the mayor pro tem, and considering she's not on the list, usually, historically, what we've done is kind of a, she hasn't been on in the last couple of years, and so what we've traditionally done is somebody who hasn't been ends up being the next one, and then we pick somebody newer who can kind of learn those ropes, coming up. So for, way I feel is that Pat Wright should be mayor pro tem.
I would agree. I was going to nominate Councilmember Wright for the position of mayor pro tem.
Okay. And we're doing this together, so any discussion around the alternate?
Go ahead, Carla. I would say one of the newer people would be and Eric kind of looks a little lonely over there. So I was actually thinking that Eric might be a good choice for alternate mayor pro tem. But it's everybody's choice.
I second. Yeah, I also agree.
Okay, so if we could condense that into one motion, that'd be helpful.
Go ahead, Megan.
I'll make a move to approve, or move to elect Councilmember Pat Wright for mayor pro tem and Eric Fajarin for alternate mayor pro tem.
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Congratulations. And Eric?
I still need to buy my own coffee.
You still have to buy your own coffee, yes. So the next item is on to boards and commission discussion. And you have before you where people previously have been. And how I'd like to start this discussion is historically what we've had, what as a council we've been trying to work toward is this is something where we rotate people among the different positions so that council members experience. Is that something that, as a council, you would like to do? There's sometimes the council members, they want to just focus on one area. They just want to be the expert in one area as opposed to learn everything. And so as we start the discussion, that'd be the first one. Yes. I'm sorry, Carla, and then Ann after that.
So if I have a organization or committee I'm burning to be a part of, could I start discussing?
We're not into that part yet.
Oh, okay,
So
sorry.
this is first, because that will then trigger some additional questions as it relates to committee pieces. Ann, I'm sorry, Councilmember Parks?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I do agree with rotating on a somewhat on a basis, but sometimes too, I think that the committee involvement can extend over a year or so or more, depending on what's happening inside committee, whether there are special projects that the current council member has knowledge and experience in, or if there's just something that they're really a part of that they would like to continue that on. So I think it could be a balance. Yes, some rotation, but also maybe just hearing and deciding whether we want to accommodate somebody wanting to stay on a committee or not. So I don't know if it needs to be a hard and fast policy. I
Yeah.
think it
So-
could be more of a case by case.
So in light of that, how if I kind of go to my questions and to help guide this thing? And the first one is, if we're looking that way, are there, and I'm looking to our senior, I don't know if senior is the right term for the council members that currently have committee assignments. Are there any committees you have that you've been on for over 2 years or at least years that you feel there's certain circumstances that is why you should stay on that as opposed to drop that one off? So, I'm
Address
sorry,
something
Pat?
real quick
Yes.
before we get into that. All of that holds true with the exception of the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, and there are terms that are set for those commissioners, if you will. And so as we revise the whole LTAC piece, we set up staggered terms. And so now I think we are all rolling into the next term, and those terms are for 3 years. And I think there is verbiage in there not to exceed 2 consecutive terms, but again, that is driven by city ordinance, not necessarily RCW, but city ordinance. So that would be the one exception to the term piece. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, and that's challenges, is we have some that are set by city code, there's some that state law, so with that, Councilmember Guido?
And just to confuse things, there is an unofficial, I don't know, ad hoc, what word do you want to use, housing group, and we have yet to really determine our name. And I would like the council to, perhaps at our retreat, talk about making that an official commission, a housing commission. And I head that up and would like to continue to do that as we're making good progress and have some plans in the works.
And we have, there's a few of those things that are out there that we do as a council need to discuss on that. Councilmember Parks, and then.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to make a correction on the list of current appointments. It lists Megan Guido as the DPA representative from council, and that actually changed to myself this year. So just so everyone's aware that, I don't know if it matters, but it's
Thank you. Councilmember Weller?
currently.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to also, before we kind of move on to the other assignments, just make a point that, we've had a challenge in the past of council members sitting and getting very comfy in positions, and there's arguments for and against that, but some, many, many years in a row. And I know several years back when I think I had 3 or 4, we've all had a lot, giving those up so that people such as, I was on Neal Public Library Board for about 3 years, and I was very happy to allow her to get that experience there. And as senior members, I've always advocated for us being able to give those positions up so that newer members can understand
Sure.
what it's like. So I agree, but I also agree that certain have very specialized knowledge. I think, Megan, you are doing amazing, and it was really your project with the housing, and I think that's really appropriate there. But I just want to make sure that we do allow new members coming in, that we are able to give them
Oh,
up. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would propose is, first, are there any that should come off of? But then I'd also like to ask, for those that currently have committees, are there any committees that you'd like to release? Because that also helps people know what are ones that are kind of in play in this mix also.
I can release all of mine, and I would like to clarify on the Palouse one, since I did get more
Okay.
information, but can do that later if you want.
Is it still on the list?
It is still on the list, yeah.
Okay. So that'd be Plus One, the JPAC, and the BFFF.
Yeah.
And
No, it's the BVFF,
BVFF.
yeah, and the LEF, LEOF, so law enforcement, firefighters,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm working a number of things right now.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand.
Okay, thank you. Pat, how about for you? Are you
I'm
happy with where you're at, or?
good where I am and with the number of things that we've got going on with lodging tax, that is a full plate.
Yeah, and we need the senior position in there. And for you, you have a number of committees. Are there any that you would like to be able to release and have others pick up?
Sure, I definitely believe a newer council member should be a part of the audit committee because it's a really good way to learn how the city allocates the funds and how things are paid for and what we pay for, where we acquire the things that we do. It's a really, really good education there. I would like to relinquish the Palouse Regional Transportation, the RTPO. It's just, it's been interesting and I've learned a lot of things, but it's something I could definitely allow a newer person or even an experienced person to have that. DPA, I can go either way on that. I do enjoy it, but if somebody really wants to get in there and be a part of that, I'm happy with that. And the library board would be just the one that I would like to stay on, but I don't have to. So if somebody really wants to give that a go, that's fine.
It's a fun board, huh?
It's a fun board and there's a lot going on, and it's one of those things where it does take a couple of years to sort of learn what's happening and things like policies and procedures, really fun, exciting things. And just kind of learn how the Friends help the library. And it's just been, it's one of those things where you feel like you're just getting really, well-informed on it and more effective. But again, I'm not going to hog anything. So if somebody's very, very interested, that would be okay. Which would leave me, with none. And then I could, no, I'm kidding. I'll take something. Yeah. But
So
the
I
library
hear
is
you're
very
interested
good.
in the library and the EPA continuing is what I'm hearing, or?
Yeah, I could
Okay.
do that, but like I said, the library is the most near and dear to me,
Okay.
just personally and otherwise. And also, I'm excited about giving board reports too for the library. There is a lot going on there. DPA, if somebody else would like it, that's great, or I'm happy to stay on it. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so if I'm looking at the committees that Eileen, Becky, and myself were on that all released, we have and I'm just kind of work the way down through it, the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, Blue Space Aquifer Committee. For the Audit Committee, we need 2 people. For LTAC, the lodging tax, we need 1. For SWEDA, we would need 1. For CIP, we would need 1. The left board, we need 2 people. For the, and I'm working my way through this, for the volunteer firefighters and reserve officers, we would need 1. For RTPO, we need 1. For Palouse 1, we'd need 1. And then there's the potential, if you really want the DPA, you can arm wrestle for.
Mayor,
Yeah, I guess I would like to hear
I'm
what the
sorry, so,
newer council
yeah.
members, oh, pardon me.
Yes, Mike?
just a point of clarification. I want to make sure I understood Councilmember right. You wanted to stay on the LTAC and the CIP? Okay. I missed that piece. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So with
Mayor,
that, yes, Councilor Parks.
Sorry, I guess part of it too is I'd really like to hear what the newer council members are interested in. It's hard to, you know what I mean, if, maybe that would be helpful at this juncture after you ask everybody.
So with that, we can either, people can share what they're really interested in, or we can go, just down and each person pick one and just work our way until they're all filled. What's your preference? Councilmember
Thank you,
Weller?
Mr. Mayor. I think it comes as no surprise. I've been trying to become a part of the PBAC for the last 4 years. So, and that was one of the ones that, like I said,
Member Parks?
Library board,
Okay. Councilmember Guido?
The LTAC,
Okay, and then from there would be Councilmember Fajera.
I'm pleased to serve in whatever capacity, but I have a special interest in the audit in SWITA.
Which one's your preference to start first?
Audit.
Okay, audit. And then Councilmember Delera? Your first one?
Yeah, Post-Regional Transportation Planning Organization.
So the PRT, the TPO?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could I voice my second?
We're
Oh,
trying to
just
wait
one.
through.
Okay.
Councilmember Gaither?
I'd like to put my name in the hat for SWITA.
Okay. Okay, so we made the first round, and it looks like we have, so we have solid waste still left open. We have one from the audit that's still left open. CIP, no, it'd be council position.
No, I know, but you're coming off.
I'm coming off, so CIP, and then we still have two for the left board and one for volunteer firefighters and Plus One. And so with that, we'll start again, Councilmember Weller. And if you want to pass, that's okay. We have 16 committees. That means we need 2 to 3 committees for each person, is how it'd work.
well, you know what? I will cede my LTAC choice to Megan. I think that's great for her. I think you'd be very good at that. Sorry, I didn't have my microphone on. But yeah, I mean, solid waste. I talked to a guy down there at, he said he'd be interested in me being on that, so not.
Okay? So solid waste. With that, are you passing? Okay. Councilmember Park?
I could do the left board.
Okay.
Oh.
Councilmember Guido?
I guess I'll pass because, again, I feel like my time with the housing group is
Great.
keeping me busy.
Not a problem. With that, Councilmember Jaron?
I'm interested in Plus One.
Okay. Councilmember Delera?
The audit committee, does that need a second person?
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilmember Gaither?
Volunteer firefighters, is that still available?
Okay. Okay. So we have both audits done, attack. Is done. Okay, so it looks like we still have one for CIP, is that correct? And one for LEF. I think are the, yes, Mike?
And just a quick reminder on CIP as well, those meeting dates have been set for 2024. It's a short-term piece that's going on kind of as we speak.
And for the CIP, in here, they have the May meeting date, and then also a December meeting date that so should be in that one too, as I'm looking at the schedule. So with
Mayor,
that,
can you share-
I'm
can you
sorry.
share those dates?
No, lost. Okay.
Okay, so as we work through, Councilmember Weller, any others you're interested in?
You know, whatever's left, I can always, I don't mind being on CIP.
Why, if you want it, or if you want to pass to one of our others.
Well, I can do it, or if somebody else wants to do it, that's totally cool by me, so.
It's, you had draft pick.
Well, I'll pass for
Okay.
somebody else if they want.
And with that, yours pass. And there, so with that, and it's really just looking at what's your, what's your schedule. Councilmember Fajarin,
I think Ann had this question before. When are the dates of the CIP if they're set in stone? Do we know?
The December one isn't set in stone, and I'm looking for the other one because I thought it was published by the clerk. I know I'm looking. And I have a feeling I'm racing hard for the answer.
I'd be willing to sit on CIP.
so that'd be, yeah.
All right.
And then I think we still have one left. Is that correct?
CIP was Councilmember Fajarin,
Yes.
May 8th.
So Councilmember Fajarin has audit, CIP, and loose one. Councilmember Delera, are you interested in the left? I think that's the only one that we have left.
Can you repeat which is left?
Sorry?
What committee is left?
So left is the Law Enforcement Officers and Firefighters Disability Board.
I think I will pass.
Okay. And Member Gaither, does that work for you then?
It works for me.
Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So let me see if I have this right, and then Mike, please let me know if I'm missing one. So I have Councilmember Weller for PBAC and SWAC.
Okay. I've been managing some of the other pieces, and I know we've
Okay.
been recording the meetings, so
Okay.
I'm hoping the council members will correct you as
And
well.
then
There's so much
Councilmember
clerking I
Wright.
can do tonight, yeah.
Thank you. I have CIP and LTAC. And then for Councilmember Parks, I have Left Library and DPA. And
Okay.
then for Councilmember Guido, I have LTAC. For Councilmember Fajarin, I have Audit, Plus One, CIP. For Councilmember Delera, RTPO and Audit. And then for Councilmember Gaither, Sueda, Left, and the BVFF, the Volunteer Firefighters and Reserve Officers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
You all are
7,
jumping
8,
in.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And that gets 16. Is everybody happy? This is always, it's always a fun one, especially when we had 3 changed over.
That's pretty smooth, though.
There's a lot in the mix.
Francis, would you like me to update with Palouse 1?
Oh, please.
Okay. And of course, Councilmember Fajarin, with you being on there, so right now, it's been kind of quiet, and so I reached out to their executive director, Rich French, and currently, board consists of universities, the port, and the counties. They meet monthly. This is something that, Mike, we may need to talk about at a future time. There are certain requirements for us to be a part of as a voting member. Palouse 1, or 1 Palouse. So there's annual contributions, so that's maybe something we'll have to talk out, so.
Yeah, as we go into the budget, if that's something council wants to address,
Yeah.
letting the mayor know.
Yeah.
And looking into that, because it's the mayor's proposed budget,
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll just be kind of, seeing what goes on and so on, but yeah.
And thank you. So with this, do I need a motion to capture these?
yeah, let's do that to capture as presented.
Is there a motion to capture as presented?
Move to
As-
capture as presented.
Actually, as drafted.
Okay, as drafted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Congratulations with your new committee members and positions. So that, and with this now is opportunity to move to new business. I'm sorry. Yes, Mike?
Yeah, under new business, I had an item. While I was up at the podium and you guys were discussing the change in the agenda and all the amendments that we've made to Resolution 12-13. Now that we have different pieces living in different, with the council's permission before I spend time on it, may I go and look at consolidating this and bringing a new, we can find it all in one place, resolution in case we ever have to refer to it later? And if it's just a simple consolidation, put that on a future consent agenda. But as I'm examining 12-13, if there's other small changes that need to be made, bring you up to speed on that and then bring it as part of a regular agenda item.
Yeah,
Okay.
Such agreement that way.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
with that, on to new business. This is an opportunity for the public in order to provide public comments. And do we want to start with public or do we want to start with council? So. So we're going to let the public first and then we'll go in.
Yeah, I forgot to turn it on.
So with that, there is a sign-in. Please sign in so that we can make sure that we have accurate record of who presented. And if you could limit your comments to 3 minutes, appreciate it. So please come on up, state your name, and let us know your comments.
Okay, Tim Pollitt. My name is Tim Pollitt, and I'm part of a group that started September 2023 to save the downtown trees. We mobilized Pullman residents to become aware of this and got almost 700 petition signatures from Pullman residents opposing this plan. Based on our contacts with residents, most had no idea that all the trees would be removed. And I do not need to tell you about the environmental and social benefits of these beautiful, well-maintained trees in this age of climate crisis. In August 2022, Welsh-Comer presented 3 alternatives to the city concerning trees: remove all the trees, keep some of the trees, or keep all of the trees. But by October 2022, the decision was made to remove all the trees. The other 2 alternatives were not explored or developed. The reasons focused on the sidewalks, the idea that to have smooth ADA-compliant sidewalks, the trees would have to be removed. But the city of Pullman has replaced sidewalks around trees for years. Just last summer, they contracted with Knox Concrete to do this on Pioneer Hill. There are trees on College Hill that are almost 100 years old that have smooth sidewalks. And many cities have done this with mature trees. We found and shared resources from the International Society of Arboriculture and the Cornell Institute of Urban Horticulture on how to do this. But we kept hearing arguments that were not valid, like the trees are not healthy, the trees are past their prime based on average age of trees, the trees will contact a deadly wilt disease if you nick the roots, the shade was not right, they were hitting the awnings, etc. But the thing that lifts sidewalks are the structural roots, and they only go out a few feet from the trunk, and some be removed to replace the sidewalk. Then about 2 months ago, the argument switched to the overlays, which were presented in November. These showed where the utilities would be located in respect to the trees. When I looked at these, I realized there are about 15 out of the 70 trees that would not be directly impacted by the major utilities, the sewer, the storm drain, and the water. You could put a 15-foot radius around these trees, make a protective zone as per industry standards. In fact, this was written into the RFP. The electrical conduit and irrigation systems are much shallower and would have less impact on trees or could be moved a few feet. What we request is the ability to work with the contractor, whoever it is, to look at the plans in detail, to walk to every tree with our people, the contractor, and the city, and identify trees that could be saved. This is not a big ask, and it would be a win-win for everyone. In addition, if the city pursued trenchless technology, fewer trees would be impacted and would have less impact on businesses. The second request is for us to provide a more
15
suitable
seconds.
list of replacement trees. The ones in the existing plan are not appropriate. They are cleaner trees which will not provide much shade. Some will lift the sidewalk as much as ash trees. One is an invasive species. One will drop berries on the sidewalk, and one is prone to damage. We need to select trees that are drought resistant and disease resistant and provide shade. We think that the city should pause, redo the RFP to allow for alternatives that would have less impact on the trees, but especially the human part of downtown, the businesses.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And please stay within your 30 minutes so that we can make sure we have time for everybody.
Hello, Pizzaleonis, and thank you for hearing us out this evening. Impact to business revenue and projects comparable to Project Downtown Pullman hinges on three factors in this order of effect: traffic, parking, finally the state of the construction site. If customers hope to come downtown and get stuck in traffic, many will be heading to return during construction. If they brave the traffic and can't find parking, re-entering the traffic and compounding it, they will be deterred from returning as well. Finally, last in order is what happens in of our doors during construction. This is why in comparable circumstances, you can expect 50% plus in reduction in revenue. With this in mind, disallowing contractors from spreading the work over 2 years is highly consequential, with the current bids being $2.4 million over. It needs to be revisited. The current RFP only allows bids that shut down the street in its entirety to vehicular traffic and parking for 6 months. This is a mistake considering there are serious proposed alternatives. One alternative proposed by a local contractor describes a scenario where this summer they begin work on the east end of Main Street, moving incrementally, attending to the sewer line, the deepest and most precarious bit of the infrastructure, filling in after themselves, and essentially allowing 3/4 of Main Street at any given time to be accessible for traffic and parking, seriously mitigating those first two factors in terms of impediment to revenue, and only directly impacting the adjacent businesses and residences at any given time. There are also other benefits. This reduces the risk of tearing up Main Street end to end and getting stuck with unknown unknowns. It just seems like a much more prudent approach. This also allows the city time, with its now established public works official, grant writer, economic development professional, and now seasoned team, and new mayor and council, engaged community to pursue the federal dollars that have been deployed post-COVID to rebuild communities like ours. I ask you to stop, encourage our city staff to look at all options, then make your decision based on the best one out there.
15 seconds.
It would just require some rethinking, legwork, and a bit of political will. And to reiterate, please open the possibility to allow contractors to propose an alternative approach and then decide. Let the bid speak for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next.
Mayor Benjamin, my name is Larry Clark, and council members, mayor, I'm here with Citizens for Pullman Public Schools. And a bit earlier, you heard an excellent presentation from the school district about the levies. And I'm just speaking to you today to encourage you to support the levies, and also anybody else in Pullman to vote in favor of these levies. They do an excellent job. It's great for our community, great for our schools. And as community leaders, I'd also ask you to please reach out to all of your contacts and let them know we really need to get the ballots in and vote in favor of this so that we can continue having the great schools that we do. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I adjust this for my height first? It's never
You
quite
can bend it
right.
down, yes.
Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Somehow you have to be really tall. I speak to you tonight asking you to consider the plight of small business in the downtown core and in support of replacing infrastructure on Main Street and doing so with the utmost nimble intelligence. When no bids came to the city from the first RFP, 12/12/23, City Council, under a different mayor, chose to alter the construction duration to 6.5 months. 6.5 months of economic loss for any food or mercantile business is dramatic and will readily lead to stress or failure. A group of small residents put together a survey to collect data to determine business viability using up-to-date Chamber of Commerce and J.P. Morgan Institute metrics. We used snowball sampling, ensured anonymity, and employed a skip logic sequence of questions. 78 businesses were identified. 67 had viable contact information, and 30 responses were gathered. There was an N value of 38 to 44.4%, depending on whether you use 78 or 67 is the closed population of businesses downtown. Welch Comer's storybook had an N value of less than 1%. Ours was 38 to 44. The principal author teaches statistics to graduate students at WSU. The survey of downtown businesses was conducted to provide data. It brings evidence to you, council and mayor, and we mean to, council and mayor, it brings evidence to you about the new December sustained construction that will harm downtown food and mercantile businesses. The survey is not a gotcha effort. We ask you to consider the information without bias. You all received copies. The results are clear. Food and retail providers are not prepared for 6.5 months of sustained construction at no fault of their own. Some will be forced to take out high-interest loans necessitated only by the lengthened construction period. Some will fail. The professional businesses will mostly survive. A couple will thrive. I ask you to consider moving forward and consider this path as in the survey discussion, as one local prime contractor already recommended to the city. Split construction into 2 summers. This can be done if our city moves nimbly and does not take a defensive stance in the face of stakeholder engagement. In good faith, investigate trenchless piping for the parts of the construction that's viable, such as water lines. We all want the same thing. So here it is. We want to actualize this plan. It's beautiful. The RFP only called for rip and replace trench, rip out old pipes, replace with new ones.
Thank you for time.
Let's not rip up our beloved downtown business as we repair pipes. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I approach?
Yes, please.
These are copies of business issues that have been brought up for the past year. I'm sorry, I don't have a copy for you, but I'll email you one.
Mayor, can you keep your copy for the official record, please?
Yes.
Since the clerk didn't get one.
Is there a way that I can get a disability requirement? I have to sit down, sorry. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, let's do that. Someone else is going to go.
So while we're getting a poor mic set up, is there someone that would like, or do we have?
Test, test, test.
There we go.
Sorry, I was actually just hospitalized yesterday. So, my name is CJ Robert, and this is my 4th time coming up here in just over a year, begging you all to listen to the concerns of downtown businesses in regards to the downtown project. I have been intimately involved in this project since 2022, but on the outskirts since 2018. And since 2018, this project has been sold to business owners as a beautification project that focused on the key elements to improve the downtown as outlined in the 2018 master plan. That would only take the summer months. The current design you are about to bid on is a far cry from that project and has now recently morphed into what Pat Wright in December so eloquently spelled out to us as just an infrastructure project, and everything else was just a bonus. That you then decided at the switch of a hat to throw away all of the things that businesses had successfully advocated for over the last year and give businesses only 3 months to prepare, only if they were paying attention. As of last week, there were still 3 businesses that were unaware it had been extended by more than 115%. The master plan called for extended sidewalks. This plan, in fact, reduces walking space in the block that has the most restaurants due to the now 3 times larger planters and only an extra 18 inches sidewalks. The blocks that do get 4 foot of extra sidewalk, half of the extra sidewalk is now erased due to the bike lane that is now slated to be put on top of the sidewalk. Business owners have been questioning many elements of the design for over a year and have been blatantly and at times purposely blown off time and time again, told since February 2023 that the design was 90%, so there was nothing that could be done. Throughout that time, business owners begged for changes to be made that would help make the plan better. They were ignored. Community members and owners reached out to the city to hand deliver them grants that will help with this project. They were ignored. There are plenty of records of this that will come to light. The community, made up more than 50% of its population of PhDs, came together to present plenty of options for the city to address all of the concerns brought up over this last year. All but one was ignored, the monument. None of the same community members, or some of the same community members, gift-wrapped an option called trench piping that would ultimately end up saving potentially a third of the budget, take 40% less time, and could have saved a huge amount of trees. Having been a construction manager in the past, I personally tracked down every contractor I could find and found out that not a single person from the city had even looked into this other than surface level or talked to these contractors that confirmed that they could do it. I personally called and told multiple staff and council members and confirmed that this technology can be used. That is by per Sean Wells. But ultimately found out that the way that the RFP was written, it explicitly exclude trenchless piping contractors per every contractor I talked to. I explained this to many of you, was ignored. I have had extensive discussions with these contractors, including the ones that did not bid, and had no chance to bid, and have much further information and implore one of
15
the
seconds.
council members right now for you to make a motion and have an open public discussion about this right now.
Other public comments? Is there anyone, or we're doing community comments first?
I'll enter my information when I go back. My name is Bob Cady. I'm a business owner in town, and I live currently on Main Street and have offices on Main Street. And I'm here to talk downtown Pullman project. But my concern is that this project that was always going to be difficult and always going to be painful has become a negative impact on the entire relationship between the city of Pullman and the businesses of Pullman and the administration of Pullman. And it doesn't need to be that way, but that's what it's become. It's become very combative, it's become very emotional, it's become I'm sorry it's gonna cost you a bunch of money, take out a loan. I've seen very, very real, well-respected business owners in their industry and in this community have their very valid financial concerns just brushed aside as though it wasn't a big deal and everything's gonna be fine. My business on Merman Drive this last summer was behind a road closed sign that was poorly managed and didn't need to be where it was or even be in place the majority of the time for 3 months. That 3 months cost us $120,000. One business, 3 months. Nobody bothered to adjust the movement of the sign or the process for the resurfacing to tailor to one business that was behind that sign. What's going to happen downtown when all of a sudden every business is behind that sign? And we're at the point we're at now because the city has taken a very combative and dismissive tone with feedback from businesses and has been very closed-minded into the processes that are available to complete this difficult process, this difficult construction project. And I'm highly concerned that there'll be an ongoing situation in the city for all future projects and all future feedback that we're going to end up with 30 seconds for town hall, that we're going to end up with just take out a loan, it'll be fine. It's not going to be fine. It's going to be very, very difficult and a major impact the entire economy of Pullman, not just Main Street. And I think the dismissive tone and the combative nature of the administration's engagement is a disservice to the city of Pullman and destroys the trust between the council, the administration, and the residents of Pullman. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Handouts, may I approach?
Mm-hmm.
Good evening. I'm Bobby Ryder, and I am here to talk about value engineering. That's kind of my thing, right? I gave a little definition at the top of this about what is value engineering. What does that mean? Basically, it says what can we cut from a project because it doesn't add any value to it, and what can we cut because there's going to be life cycle costs going forward, so what it's going to cost into the future to citizens of this community. So I have a list of 7 items I'd like to cover, and on the back there is a map. Unfortunately, I am having printer problems, and so there's a lot of pink, but that's okay, we'll get through it. So the speed table is one thing. Narrowing the street to 2 lanes will slow people down just by itself. So one recommendation would be consider not building the speed table at all. Second is at-grade planting beds that have also been alluded to earlier. There are roughly 19,000 to 20,000 square feet of planter beds that will require city staff to maintain weeding, fixing irrigation, deadheading, trimming, so on and so forth. For comparison, that is more than the amount of a typical house lot in Pullman. The amount of flower shrub beds is equivalent to roughly a third of a football field. A football field is 57,600 square feet. There's a cost associated with none of the beds are similar except for the tree well, so it's all very customized construction for forms for the concrete. The life cycle costs, including hiring more park staff to hand weed or spray and so forth, because the vegetation has been tromped out. Basically, you have to go across the vegetation if you get out of your car in many places to get to the sidewalk. Makes sense. Even though the number of plants have been reduced, the planter beds are arranged so that people will need to walk through the beds on stepping stones when they get in and out of their cars. So one necessary reason for doing this project was to create a safe surface for people. And this is important. The planter beds are obstacles, and there will be trips and falls. The ADA accessibility for sight impaired and people with other disabilities remains a problem. Restaurant and coffee shops would like the space for outdoor seating to be significantly increased. Repeatedly asked for seating under canopy trees. This plan does not accomplish that request. With the trees removed, why not give the businesses the opportunity to permanently increase customer service outside during 6 to 9 months of the year? So the
15 seconds.
recommendation for that would reduce the amount of planter beds to approximately 8,000 square feet, including the tree wells. The bulb outs. The bulb outs are a big one. The bulb outs are a really good idea, but the clay pavers and pervious concrete construction is double the cost of a poured slab of concrete. The plan has approximately 7,600 square feet of pervious concrete and pavers. Polymer sand clogs
time.
the pavers.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Good. You can all read my notes.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to talk with you one-on-one at any time.
Thank you very much.
Orin Ford. I have a ramen downtown. My comments will be pretty brief. I just want to voice my concerns about losing revenue during this spring, and especially during the busiest time, the early fall as we go into October. My business is already in a precarious position. It's really, Pullman's a hard place to do business, the seasonal nature of it. You know, keeping a labor force year after year has proved difficult for me. Servicing COVID debt, trying to stay engaged, you know, there's a lot going on. And I would just encourage the council to listen to the engaged citizens, make your best judgment, and find a path forward.
Judy Gold. Today I'm speaking on behalf of myself. First, I want to just say I have a lot of empathy. I know you guys are in a rough position. You're working with ARPA that have a timeline, and we're all sitting on a ticking time bomb, which is this aging infrastructure underneath Main Street. I also have a ton of empathy for the people in this room. I know how hard it is to do business in Pullman. We literally have an 8-month business year. We do not have 12 whole months to do business. It's highly seasonal already. Losing 3 of those 8 months is potentially just devastating for many businesses. I have empathy for people that have to borrow from family members, take out their IRA, get a second job just to keep a business going in this town. It's a very hard place to do business, but it's a very wonderful community to be in. So I basically want to just recognize everybody's pretty keyed up. Bob, I think you did a great job summarizing. It's a tough thing to be. We need to pull together, not get in our swim lanes and fight. I feel like for the longest time it was like, we have no alternatives, it has to be this way, we can't go to DOT, there was all sorts of reasons, but people are giving you lots of good ideas about other technologies, other timelines. I just really, really encourage you, because I'm not sure how many of these wonderful businesses will survive 6 months. And I just have a lot of empathy for those people. And, but I know that you guys will do the best you can, and I know you all care. So thank you for, I know it's hard, but please, 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 don't just take what everyone says and I have to do it this way, and we can't, because if we could value engineer, if we could do some other things, I think it would be amazing for our city. So I know you guys will do the right thing, but anyway, I just wanted to say, I know everybody's in a tough position. This is a tough thing. Thanks.
Any other public comments?
Hi there. Do I need to lead into this? Like that? Okay.
There.
Hi, my name is Adam. Been a resident for 23 years, and I love our town. I love our downtown. And like the previous commenter said, it's heartbreaking to see this be so divisive, because at the end of the day, none of us are going to get everything we want. None of us are going to get exactly the plan that we hope to see happen, but I believe we're going to come out better on the other side. There's a lot of variables with this project that are out of our control. We aren't necessarily in control of when the money comes in and when the money has to go out. We're not necessarily in control of whether or not we can use all the piping techniques that may or may not be available. But there is one thing, and I want to say this to everyone in the room, there's one thing that is under our control, and that is whether or not we support our downtown businesses with our business. This summer, if you don't shop downtown, start. If you do shop downtown, shop more often. And if you're able-bodied, be willing to inconvenience yourself to go that extra mile and spend the money that you would have spent if we weren't going to have a construction project. It might mean parking in a place you're not used to parking in. It might mean walking 2 blocks when you used to just walk 1. But I know that if we were planning on spending a certain amount at a certain downtown business this summer, we can still do that even with an aggressive construction schedule. And so that's a commitment I'm prepared to make. That's something I want to challenge everyone in Pullman to make. This is the one thing that we do control, where we spend our dollars. And I want to encourage everyone, shop local.
Are there any other public comments?
Hi, my name is Liv Rousseau. I understand, well, first I want to say, of course, I'm in full support of the businesses and the problems they've pointed out with the construction timeline and proposals, 100%. But I understand that you are going to be entertaining some bids on Tuesday, and I just want to put a word in for the fact that you have an expert in the community, an arborist, who has volunteered their time to do a walkthrough. I mean, as Tim mentioned, there are trees that don't have to be removed for various reasons. I'm a humanist. I teach environmental humanity. I don't have data. I haven't studied the plan. I speak from my heart. And I think it's important that the city models care. I'm sorry, I'm going to get emotional, but care for community, but also care for this living world, the habitat that we live in, the urban forest. I'm emotional because I think of all of trees being removed without the necessary care and consideration that can happen if the whichever bid you accept. So I'm asking the council or the city, whoever can make this happen, give the experts in the community with the knowledge about trees, about native trees, about the lifespan of trees, about whether trees need to be removed or not. Would you please make room for their input as a part of the construction plan going forward? Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? So is there any other new business to come before the council? Councilmember Delira?
Thank you for giving me the floor. I want to bring up discussion around the logistics of the February 6th special meeting at 12 p.m. I want the council to consider that we allow public comment during the special meeting. And we as a council have the power to make that happen by putting it to a vote today. The downtown project is a very large project that will impact many community members. Community members should be able to weigh in on this large project at every step of the way, including when we're about to make a major decision on the downtown project on the 6th. I realize that this may impact council members' schedules on the 6th, but this project will make an impact on the schedules of many community members for 6 months. Allowing for public comment will send out the message that we are committed to listening to the thoughts and concerns of everyone who is a stakeholder in this project. Further, this sends out the message that we're turning a new page in our governing by allowing for more frequent, well-communicated opportunities for public meeting participation between community members and local government. And as we heard already from a wide range of community members recently during January 16th interviews, we can improve our lines of communication. So I hope I have the support of my fellow council members in allowing for public comment during the special meeting on February 6th. And with that said, are there any thoughts before I set a motion?
So there is a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. With that, we move to discussion. Any discussion related to this motion?
So I'd like to have further explanation on this. You're asking for public comment in our special meeting of February 6th,
Yes.
beyond what we've done today.
Yes, I believe that community members should be a part of every part of the decision-making process, including being able to make public comment every step.
Councilmember Fajarin?
Yeah, I just want to thank Councilmember DeLira for bringing up this really significant matter. Our community really has repeatedly voiced, as we can see, concerns that they're feeling unheard, and I feel that we can really take this opportunity to change that narrative next week. Since this, my understanding, is a final action, I firmly believe that allowing public comment at next week's special meeting is not just appropriate, but it really is essential. If we to reassure the public that we hear them and we are ready to support them if the project does moving forward. So I would very much support public comment at next week's special meeting.
No other comments? That I'd call for a vote. All those in favor of, do we need the motion read, or is it, okay, so all those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Are there any other new business items to come before the council? If not, we're going to go into executive session. So at this time, we're going to adjourn to executive session pursuant to RCW 4230-11(1)B to consider the selection of a site or the acquisition of real estate by lease or purchase when public knowledge regarding such consideration would cause the likelihood of increased price. Number 2, RCW 4230-110(1)I to discuss with legal counsel representing the city matters relating to agency enforcement action, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in an official capacity is a party when public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency. Number 3, RCW 4230.110(1)I to discuss with legal counsel representing the city matters relating to agency enforcement actions, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency potential litigation concerning litigation or legal risk of a proposed action or current practice of the agency has identified when public discussion of the litigation or legal risk is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency. While the provision for Open Public Meeting Act does not apply to discussions relating to interpretation or application of a labor agreement, or that portion of the meeting during which the governing body is planning or adopting the strategy or position be taken during the course of any collective bargaining, professional negotiation, or grievance or mediation proceedings, or review of proposals made during the course of negotiations or proceedings, the City Council is announcing its intention to discuss such matters in executive session. The executive session is expected to last 15 minutes. If it becomes necessary to extend the executive session, someone will return to announce the anticipated additional time needed by the City Council. The Council does not anticipate taking action following executive session. It's now 8:48, and we'll start the executive session at 8:50.
executive session has been extended 10 minutes to 9:20. 10 minutes till 9:20. Thank you. Executive session extended another 10 minutes until 9:30. Until 9:30. Thank you. Executive session extended an additional 10 minutes to 9:40, please. Thank you. Executive session extended another 10 minutes to 9:50. 10 minutes to 9:50. Executive session extended another 10 minutes till 10 p.m. 10 minutes till 10 p.m. Thank you. Executive session extended another 10 minutes to 10:10. 10 minutes to 10:10.
Thank you.
Okay, we're now reconvening the city council meeting, 10:21. And I would accept a motion to adjourn. I see someone heading to a mic. No, I need a motion. So a motion is Tremaine, a second?
Second.
Is Eric. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, Pat, very much, and Ann very much, and it's, for you, it's what, 1:22? Get some sleep.